Welcome to the big show. It's 9:05 because we're on TBS now.
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo!
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed the Beastmaster.
We'll be here for What's on Joe Mind, and then afterwards, Night of the Lepus.
There you go.
11:05 is the TBS late movie. But first, we've got a chock full of hearsay kind of show to bring to you tonight. Obviously, we're all thrilled. But first, enjoy our kick-ass theme song. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Welcome to What's on Joe Mind. We are a fan cast about the world of G.I. Joe. I'm your host, Mike Irizarry. How's everybody doing?
Ooh.
Yay.
Right? It's been that kind of week, right? Like
and it's only Tuesday.
Right.
We this is as full as our house is going to get tonight. That's on me. It's entirely on me. We did not have a great week after Tuesday last week. So I didn't want to get a hold of somebody on short notice and put anybody through the short prep week where there wasn't even a whole lot of news to discuss. Really, probably the biggest news item happened today. And we'll certainly get to that as the show goes on. But joining me here in the top row, as always, the former head of the brand for Hasbro, it's the Hot Show, Mark Weber.
That's what I'm talking about. But wait a minute. If we go back, we had 4.5 people, right? 2 weeks ago hosting. And then we had 4. Now it's 3. It's like a bad horror movie, right?
Right.
Pretty soon Rob's going to say, I'll be right back. And spoiler. No, he won't. That's just how it works, right?
I have a little friend.
If that's what it's going to take, I volunteer to be the person
right.
who leaves the room.
Maybe there's a creaky noise out in the shed, and he should go check that out.
Right. I think there's a creaky noise in my bedroom that I need to examine very closely.
I'll be very honest with you. There aren't enough creaky noises in my bedroom. But hey,
you've been married a while, so there you go.
Moving on. No, my family's out of town this week.
Oh, where are they this time?
Disneyland.
The hell, Weber? Don't you get to go anywhere?
No, well, they're hanging out with Phil. So I just looked at it, and
they're on the Biff McConkey Night Prestige Pass.
I don't mind the flight, but then once you get on the 90 to the 405 to the 362, you know it's jam. So now I have limited vacation days at my current, we'll call it that, current job. And last year I only had 1 day for Christmas break. So Phoenix, we have Christmas in Phoenix. So I flew in on a Friday and flew back on Monday, and it kind of sucked. So we're trying to preserve some vacation days for a better Christmas. So there are double spring breaks out here in Rhode Island because that's how we roll. So I took the kids to Bend for the first spring break, and now Michelle is taking the kids to Disneyland. But they're like friends from their school who are going to. So it's not like I bailed on the family vacation.
Okay.
I didn't go on the big group trip.
Means double spring breaks.
Yeah.
I just got done with mine and would love to do another one.
Yeah, teachers like it best, I think.
Yeah, that slight dripping sound you hear is Racktime Rob salivating.
Right. But I've been going wild, let me tell you. There's been a lot of eternal baseball. I've watched Yankees on the big screen. That's pretty cool. I made Sloppy Joes tonight because nobody else likes Sloppy Joes. Like,
what the hell?
We made that last night.
What the hell? I'm right. I don't know if you guys know this, but I live my life right there on the edge, baby. And that's where I'll be till Saturday night at 10 p.m.
Right, you're stepping it up this week. You got the caffeinated Coke.
Yeah, it's pretty big time, right? Yeah, I've been drinking lemonade. I'm on a lemonade, not diet, But my dentist, follow this, said drink as much lemonade as you can for a week. Hmm. Okay. Best dentist ever, right? He must be the 5th dentist, right? When they say 4 out of 5 dentists approve,
Right.
I got number 5.
He doesn't want you to chew Trident. He wants you to chew Laffy Taffy.
Pretty much. Go chew some ice. It's good for you. Okay.
Right.
Hmm.
In the bottom row, he is what's your ship's purser? There you go.
I'm pulling out Love Boat tonight. I wasn't going to pick your ship's photographer because that just means ship's going down.
Is that like a celebrity Jeopardy category? Like the pen is mightier? Or a therapist?
No.
Don't go any further than that. We don't want to get demonetized.
I didn't, right? Look how good I was.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there.
I'm a good boy.
This is a show that those running gags, they tend to get their momentum. I just needed to cut that one off early.
Right. You weren't sure I had my turn indicator on, but you weren't sure I was going to go.
Well, I mean, you threw it out there. I was making sure Rack Time Rob didn't pick it up specifically.
Okay. Yeah, because I did lob that right over the rim, didn't I?
Right. It wasn't so much you. I'm not expecting you to get step 1 and step 2.
Right.
But
Mark,
come back, you rogue.
Over the rim, and Rob comes through with 2 hands.
Over the shoulder.
Shack Daddy.
180 reverse. Boom. He is International Man of Leisure, Rack Time Rob. Back from spring break this week.
Yeah.
Counting down the days till the next vacation, I'm sure.
36 as of today. But
36 calendar days or 36 school days?
36 school days.
All right. That's not better, but
yeah.
Ugh.
I'm done the Friday before Memorial Day.
There you go. There you go. And what will you be doing with that vacation time?
Goofing off.
Yeah. Goofing off and eating candy.
That's right.
I approve of that plan. And Sloppy Joe's.
Oh, yeah.
Firefly asking the big questions. Is that the rumors? Are we getting new Love Boat figures? We can hope.
Let me answer that in a gesture.
Migo is back.
Ready?
Right. Dave Draper could use another Isaac figure as the one he's got. It's been there since '81, so it's
still not selling.
Look, all I know is he's got it set up in his basement in his display. He's serving drinks to Joe's. So, that's as good a fate for an Isaac figure as one could.
Oh yeah,
hope for.
It's
right?
not bad. He did well.
I mean, slinging beers to soldiers. That's job security, is what that is.
Right. No, they're Frosty Yojo Colas.
Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Keep them coming, Barkeep.
Absorvid says, hey, everyone.
Hey.
Hello, de facto video director.
Mm-hmm.
That's the gentleman behind all of our psychedelic community calendar entries. All of our high quality bumps. They are high quality bumps. I'm just laughing because they make me laugh. But Doug Della reminds us that there was a Charlie's Angels crossover. That was
there was, baby.
Love Boat ever got.
And it had Bert Convey.
Bert Convey. Wow.
Yeah.
Was that one of the late episodes with Larry Storch too?
I don't think so, no.
All right.
I think it was actually backdoor pilot for the Love Boat at a Charlie's Angels or something. I don't know. I think it's an early Angels.
Okay.
Bert Convey.
Bert Convey as an actor, not just the host of Super Password.
Yeah.
He never got an action figure.
I don't know. How was there ever anything for Cannonball Run?
I believe there were die-cast cars, but of course he was on a motorcycle.
Hooded Cobra Commander 788. Thank you for the lead-in, sir. We appreciate your good tidings toward us as always. Dropping in before I get back to editing. I'm glad I can make it live for a little while. Well, why don't you just stick around?
I'm sure he said he came in for the Love Boat and Bert Convey discussion.
Right.
Best neighbor ever.
As I'm sure most of our fans did. Remember, if you're watching us on Facebook tonight, go ahead, give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a little huggy guy. We love little huggy guy. Anything to make any reaction makes the algorithms do their work. If you're catching us on YouTube, go ahead, give us a thumbs up, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Good Lord. We've had some decent growth the last few weeks. Let's keep it going. Just if you're watching us here, they've already got you. You might as well just subscribe. We don't bomb you out with video content 5-6 times a week. You'll get us every Tuesday. And then maybe if there's a special edition like once a month, there'll be something.
The occasional news drop where we jinx a project, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And if you're hate watching us, that's fine too, because we know there's a few of you out there. Just click little angry guy. We like little angry guy.
I operate like Emperor Palpatine. I just feel the hate.
That's it.
We drink your tears.
That's it.
We have for 12 years. Hans Chow says, Ragtime Rob is a teacher like me, the most brutal of fulfilling jobs. Here's to you, fellow educator. Yes, we've made reference many times to Ragtime Rob. He's a special ed teacher at the local high school. The high school that we both went to that I do not know my way around. Completely different.
Apparently, you didn't go to class a whole lot, apparently.
No,
it's been completely remodeled, and I mean,
okay.
Yeah, it's twice the size it used to be. None of the places that I went to class in look like they did before. Most of the places where I would be going to class if I were a student there now didn't exist when I was there. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But we've wasted.
I think they just ripped out the last part you would recognize.
What, the gym? The field house?
The band room.
Oh, well, that's they've been using the new band rooms for a while now, so I'm done with there. But anyways, we've wasted enough of America's time. What do you say we go ahead and maneuver our way into the community calendar?
Poland, too.
Yes, according to the metrics. I think the Netherlands is our number 2 right now.
AbsorbVid, I will write you a new theme, anything to stop that one. Well,
there we go. Remember, if you've got a show that you want on the community calendar, be sure to hit us up at whatsonjoemind@gmail.com. That is the way to guarantee inclusion. You can try sending it to other social media. I can't promise you that I'm going to remember to get it in there. I have very limited amount of time to build these things. So please, if you want to see it here, whatsonjoemind@gmail.com is always the best place for any kind of correspondence to the show. We appreciate you getting a hold of us on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. But if you're looking for something to get in the show, Gmail address. Anyways, first up, this coming up this Saturday, it's the Super Toy event.
Wow.
In Canfield, Ohio. Brought to you by The Ghost 93.3.
That is a regular show deep cut. If you got it, God bless you.
I've been watching regular show. I've been doing the binge of regular show. And I just passed the episode where High Five got a girlfriend. So it's late season 5 gets pretty High Five Ghost intensive.
You're well past Really Real Wrestling, right?
Oh yeah, which was fantastic. But one of the hallmarks.
Yeah.
But 10 to 4, $5 admission. Visit their page on Facebook for more details. I don't think vendor spaces are still available. I just got an old graphic. I'm kind of lazy that way. 93.3 The Ghost.
The Ghost.
I thought there was a wolf.
I don't know. I think that's a different, or no, it is 93.3 The Wolf.
Yeah.
I don't know what that ghost is before that. But he doesn't have a hand coming out of his head, so I'm less inclined to listen to him.
Right. Screw you, Ghost. We're listening to the wolf.
Oh!
We're part of the wolf pack for life.
Nothing but 24 hours, 7 days a week of Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs.
Right.
With a little Duran Duran mixed in. Very good.
Exactly. Old Wolfman Jack bumpers.
Wow.
That's
I'd listen to that station. I probably would.
I would listen to it for 10 minutes before I went insane.
And some Warren Zevon coming up after the break.
I saw Lon Janey Jr. Walking on the street. Anyways, that's this Saturday, Canfield, Ohio. That's Canfield, can't miss it, Ohio. End of the month. We're really getting close to that. We've had this one on the calendar for a while. It's going to be weird doing a community calendar without it. But April 30th, the Greater Adirondack Toy and Comic Show. That is another $5 show from 10 to 4 in Lake George, New York. Popular vacation spot for all us island types.
Mm-hmm.
Their guest of honor of particular note, as we've said several times, Lisa Raggio, who was Zorana on G.I. Joe back in the day. This is the first time she's doing a show. So get out there and be nice if you're in the area. Jesus.
Don't scare her off, geez.
Right.
Yeah.
At least wait till the second show for that. But be nice on this first one. Behave yourselves, for God's sake. Only, just have her sign action figures, not weird stuff.
And if you're thinking about saying, "Are you wearing earrings or not?"
She won't
the guy
get
in
that
front of you said that. So
yeah, and she still won't
Skip
understand the reference, I'm sure.
Skip it. Oh, I got a question. I think, Mike, you might be the one man to answer this.
What's that, Mark?
Which Spider-Man is that? I'm not sure.
That is that's Workout Spidey. You see, he's got his hooded sweatshirt on. He's about to get to the Planet Fitness and put in a good 20 minutes on the treadmill.
Isn't that Planet Fitness 616? I always get them confused.
So. There's so many Planet Fitnesses anymore, I can't even keep track.
Spider-Man's the kind of guy who would be texting sitting on the machine he's not using, I think.
Spidey?
No, I don't think so. He's a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
No.
Although this, I think, is one of the clones, which means he's probably a dick, so he might.
But if they're clones, shouldn't they be the same?
I mean, he's Spider-Man. He's probably sticking to the ceiling sending text messages.
He's probably that's seriously a weird flex, is to be standing on the ceiling doing curls over people.
Right.
Pretty slick.
That's not bad.
Which of the other 475 Spider-Men are spotting him?
You fuzzed out a little bit there, Mark.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean, you really did. So I really didn't hear you. But I guess the answer is, which is my favorite? Is that the question?
No, which of the other 475 Spider-Men are spotting him today in the gym?
Probably not punk rock Spider-Man. That's all I know.
He's got like the spike, right?
Yeah, that guy doesn't spot for anybody. He's not at the gym.
Right. There's a whole new wave from Hasbro that's all Spider-Men, and I think a couple Spider-Women.
Yeah. Well, it's the next Across the Spider-Verse movie has a bunch of those guys in them.
It'd be so good. I can't wait for the third one. I wonder what they're going to do.
But anyways, the serious answer to your question is what our own Biff McHonky-Donk says. I think it's Ben Reilly.
Yeah, I think so.
So, and Doug Dello reminding you, don't be a duck.
We don't know that he was reminding me specifically.
I'm pretty sure he was.
Mm-hmm.
Next up. In its new location, it's Toy Palooza at the AHN Sports Complex in, what is that? Cool Springs Drive, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. All right.
I think it's Pugaha.
Pugaha. $5 admission there from 11 to 4. VIP get you in an hour early, but that's $10. Visit them on Facebook for more details. Parking is free, so you know this is a quality show. Tickets can be purchased online at toypalooza.com. That's a good place to meet yourself a Matt Rubin.
And again, that's the AHN Sports Complex at 1060 West Addison, Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago, Pennsylvania, you mean?
Chicago.
Otherwise, it would be Toy Illusa.
Ooh, that's going to work.
That's not going to work at all.
It'd be Toy Pillusa, right? Marketing. Kahabagaba. Come on down to Klaatu Barada.
Oh my God. David Allen with the question for the night. What about Scatman Crothers?
He died in 1986.
Right.
Probably doesn't do a lot of shows anymore.
No. What about Scatman Crothers?
Or his evil clone, Scatman Sruthers.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, man, don't pick on typos. Live chat is a tough game.
I suppose that's
you got to get your shit in there right at the right time. Right there.
Because if you don't type phenomenon do, somebody might beat you to it.
And it's not phenomenon. It's mana.
That's right. They even have shirts about that.
Right? A phenomenon is an actual thing. Mana. That's nonsense lyrics.
Quality nonsense lyrics. The first thing they ever did on the Muppet Show.
That guy's still living off the royalties of that, I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure. May 11th from 9 to 2, it's the Toy Man Show. I think this is the third one they're doing for this year. Out at the Machinist Hall in Bridgeton, Missouri, just to the west of beautiful scenic St. Louis, just south of the airport. Because I know that's what's dragging them in. That's and Sean Russell missing the boat as always. What about Scatman's brothers?
Oops.
There's 7 of them, and they're all getting married at the same time.
Yeah.
What if Sally Struthers married Scatman Crothers and hyphenated?
Right. She'd be Sally Struthers Crothers.
That's awesome. Salute.
9 to 2, $5 admission. Parking is bountiful and free. $15 gets you in an hour early. That is when the deals are there. That is not anything to sneeze at. If there is some weird stuff at Toy Man, almost by rule. If you're anywhere close to St. Louis, get yourself to Toy Man at some point this year. It is absolutely worth your drive.
Free hugs.
That's right.
For Dave Draper, yes. Tell them What's on Joe Mind sent you. They will give you that 0% discount at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And same day, out on the left coast, the SoCal Joe Show with its next incarnation. They do this one twice a year. I don't know. We don't have principal SoCal Joe Show correspondent Biff McConkey-Dunk on the program this week. So,
but he is in the chat.
He's around. He should be at Disneyland checking in on the family.
He ditched him on Space Mountain.
Right.
Yeah, if he got tired of him, I get it.
That's a lot of teenagers to be in proximity of for a long time.
That's true.
But that is at the Embassy Suites in Temecula.
Temecula.
I believe it's pronounced Temecula.
No,
it's not. Not at all.
General admission $5. 10 to get in early. Cosplayers and children 10 and under are free. 10 to 3 p.m. VIP gets you in an hour early.
I think I saw that they announced their classified figure for this.
Yes. I believe they're doing Dana as their convention exclusive this time around, which is a great use of all those Lady J bodies that are out there.
And October Guard fan number 1, Joe Colton, who's now 19 months pregnant, is thinking about making that roadie now.
Right.
It's not that far, really.
No. That's an easy drive. She'll just rent a van or something. I'm sure
it's a domestic flight. You know.
Well, I mean, you're making up time as you head west, so it's not that bad.
Right.
Coming back's a bitch, though, man.
Right.
West to east sucks.
As she drives west, she will get slightly less pregnant.
I drove almost coast to coast once, and there were a couple of days where I was like chasing the sun, right? I go a little faster, I get more daylight. That's like 20-year-old wisdom. I knew everything back then. It's so weird.
Have to get Dad to tell the story of when he got out of the Navy, driving back from San Diego to New York.
Did he take the shortcut?
For the amount of time he says it took him, he may have.
He was ready to be done with the Navy.
I figured he'd just go to like Kansas and stop. Come get me, Navy.
No. He was in Kansas. That's why he joined the Navy, because he went to Kansas State and hated it.
So he was Skip A. Stone, basically, huh?
Yeah.
Had to get away.
He was like, "Oops, wrong Manhattan."
Yeah, our dad, after finishing high school, he went to community college in Vermont for a year. While there, set a league record for fastest ejection from a basketball game. 5 fouls in less than a minute.
Oh, I assume he just punched a guy like on opening tip.
From what I understand, there were 2 technicals in there.
Okay.
And then the next year went to Kansas State, thinking that distance would help him sort out his problems, and then no, it was so bad there that he joined the Navy. The Navy.
I never liked Kansas State.
But,
It always, like in the 90s when they were pretty good at football, but they wouldn't schedule anybody or people wouldn't schedule them. They always had like a terrible league and a cupcake preseason, not preseason, but out of division games.
right.
So they'd end up at the end of the year, they'd like lose their last game, it'd be 10-1. And they'd be like, how come we're not in the big bowl? It's like, you didn't beat anybody.
Right. The
Kansas
one game you
State.
played, you lost.
Right. You played Nebraska and lost by 40. So
At least 35 every year.
welcome to the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Welcome to Tucson. At least it's warm.
Yeah.
Like a turd.
The weather is nicer than you deserve.
Right. Go to El Paso.
That was back in the days when all the bowl games were in nice weather.
You go to the Sun Bowl. And if you want to hop the fence, we don't care.
I mean, these days they're making you go to the Bronx in January. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Look, at least that's New York. There's bowl games in like Akron. Who's going to Akron for a bowl game?
The vulcanized rubber bowl.
January's not a bad time to be in New York. The garbage is still frozen.
True.
Things are cold enough that urine smell is very sedate.
Knocked down.
It's Akron's bad any time of year.
Slightly less pigeonry.
And that's it for community calendar. That's all we got.
Hey, Firefly has a good point. It's one of my favorite Hulk Hogan lies. Because Hogan. I think I went back in time. I love the ghostly Phoenix.
Sorry, I twitched. My bad.
No, I like it.
Carrot.
No, but Hogan has a very vague grasp on the truth.
Yeah.
And this is one of his most famous lies, was that when he was on top, he worked Japan so often that he claimed he would make up days by crossing the international date line. So he claimed he wrestled like 410 nights a year. I'm like, that's awesome. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
No, it does not. There's not, unless he's figured out quantum physics to the role that there's some pocket universe where he's still working matches with the Great Muda or something.
And maybe he did, brother. But I watched a Muda Hogan match from their pretty much prime back then, and he gives Muda the boot and comes off the rope and drops the leg, and Muda kicks out at 2.
Yeah, he didn't use the leg as his finisher over there.
I didn't know that. And then like 2 minutes later, he hit Muda with a pretty weak looking clothesline, and that was it. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What the?
Right.
Come on.
Right. He went bionic elbow over there. It's just it's a whole different world, Weber. It's a whole different world.
I mean, I've been watching it long enough that I should know better. But in my heart, I just knew Muda was going to miss him in the face and hit that moonsault, and it was going to be over. But no.
No. Come on. No. The Hulkster doesn't put anybody over on any continent.
No.
Unless he gets 3 wins back in receipt.
I keep saying those Triple H and HBK and Hogan figures should have magnets in their back that flip them over if you try to lay them down in the ring.
Right. Like the ring should have positive magnets in them, and their back should have positive magnets.
Positive magnets.
I would do that. I would, if I ever got to work on the WWE line, I would do that. Hey, here's what we're going to do. It'll be funny.
Now, in fairness to HBK, it depends what era figure it is.
That's true.
He did put a lot of guys over after he came back.
That's true.
When he had his spiritual awakening and was actually a decent person after his return. He put a lot of guys over then. So credit where credit's due. And, I think I would forgive Triple H for everything if they would just let him run WWE all the time now. Just forgive him for all of it. I just wouldn't.
For that whole 5 year stranglehold he had on every pay-per-view.
As opposed to the rotting imposter of Timothy Dalton's bad evil twin.
Oh my God, what happened? This is a straight rip from the Cornette podcast, but it was actually his co-host Brian Last said it. He said, "How can you be forced to quit your company under accusations that you were a pervert, and then you come back having morphed your appearance to look more like a pervert than ever?"
It's just he's trolling us all, just leading in and trolling us all.
The rumors are that Vince carried a cordless razor in his briefcase and shaved like 5 times a day.
Yeah.
So the fact that a guy like that would grow a curated mustache in the last 20% of his life,
and a poorly curated one, because you see the bad color on it is going like onto his lip.
Rudy Giuliani thinks it looks great.
Yeah,
just saying.
That might be the only man more insane than Vince.
Meanwhile, Walt Frazier and Keith Hernandez are like, yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
He ain't Mr. Gray, but still no play.
Well, there's using Just for Men, and then there's using, a Sharpie on your head. So
I don't know how you can be on TV
Kiwi
that
shoe
long
polish
with prominent gray hair and then just color it all like nothing happened.
Oh, and like I said, it's real easy. He just took the shoe polish thing and just went,
Firefly asked, would you put the opposite magnet in SD Jones and Barry?
What was the hole in SD Jones's back? He had a hole in his back.
I was going to say for his figure, they could just put the foot peg back there.
Like a peg hole. No, check it out. He's fine. He's got a hole in his back. My brother, whenever he'd wrestle.
So he can have the other wrestler standing over him like.
Whenever he'd wrestle, my brother and I'd be like, what's with the hole in his back? I don't know. Does he keep snacks in there?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a vivid enough recall of Special Delivery Jones to.
Yeah. Well, and he was on his back quite a bit, so
yeah, who's looking at his back? You can't see it when it's on the mat.
What did SD stand for?
Special Delivery.
And what did O stand for in Barry O?
I don't know.
Orton.
Was it really?
It was, yeah. So there you go. I'm
sure
to help.
Yeah. Hans Chow asked, "Wait, Vince McMahon died? No,
yes. We haven't been that long.
Yes, I think he did.
He dyed his hair and his mustache, but he didn't die.
Yeah, DYE.
There might be a Weekend at Bernie's thing going. It might be Weekend at Vinny's.
Yeah, Weekend at
Vinny's. If that's what was going on right now, I'm a fan for life. Okay. They pull that up. You're showing me 2 wrestlers carrying Vince's dead body around, acting like he's still alive to get themselves over.
And basically every time a storyline goes wrong, they just go, Vince did.
I'm sure that's what's next for Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. That's what's coming.
Bobby Roode's on a milk carton somewhere.
He's hurt. He had his ACL redone, so
okay,
he is legit out with an injury, but he might as well be on a milk carton,
which of course kept him off WrestleMania.
Right.
Poor guy. He can go actually. All right,
it's time for the news. All right, first up. So it was pretty well the big news on the Hooded Cobra Commander show just before ours, if you're coming over from that channel. But After Action Report, it's on Kickstarter. It funded over the weekend. We got together. We talked with Roger and Greg last night. And then this morning.
Jinx.
Yeah, right. It's the What's on Joe Mind push finally got the wrong attention.
Taking the fun out of funded. And I only say it because it's funny, because we like these guys a lot. I mean,
right.
This thing looked really, really good. Look,
puns, I guarantee you, everybody involved with this project would love puns.
There you go.
But yes, there is been a an intellectual property dispute filed with Kickstarter, so the project is paused. I'd like to have more hard and fast details to give everybody, but having chatted with Roger earlier today, they don't know a whole lot themselves at this point. So let's just throw that out there now. I know there are all kinds of accusations out there and all kinds of theories and all kinds. We don't even know who filed this yet. And I'm sure they will be forthcoming with those details as they are prudent. But, we got to... There we go. There's Hans Chow giving props.
Hey.
Wins all the awards. That could be another T-shirt.
Liking that. But since you went right to the source like hours ago,
right,
and there's nothing to report, let's speculate for a while.
Right. Let me give the timeline. Like last night, Greg and Roger and I recorded for about half an hour. We did special edition 82, and having talked to those guys, they had no idea this was coming. So this is not something that was laying in the weeds that they knew about in advance, which I've seen in some other places. No. In fact, Roger found out with the rest of us, and he's the co-publisher of the book. So the thinking that they knew about this in advance and just missed a deadline or something is entirely not true. But I also don't think it's quite as doom and gloom as being made out to be. But Mark, if you have some thoughts, go ahead and toss them in here.
I mean, Hasbro's legal department, when I was there, they weren't that active truly in protecting their trademarks. But to be fair, there was a whole lot less Kickstarters and I don't say third party because that makes it sound bad, right? But there was just that community was a lot less active.
Yeah, there wasn't nearly as much, we'll call it fan produced content.
Yeah, there you go. Because I'm not against it unless it is actually stealing the IP, like a lot of the stuff we saw in Transformers was. Actually, there was a lot of Transformers product back then, right? Where it was, Ultra Dagnus. And it was like, oh yeah, it looks like Ultra Magnus's evil twin or pretty legit twin.
Yeah, he looks like Ultra Magnus, only he's got silver antenna, not blue, right?
Right, exactly. So it was there was a lot of that going on. And actually I kind of raged against that and tried to get them to take a stronger stand about it. But my boss at the time, his point was, because a lot of what they were doing was making the characters Hasbro wasn't.
Right.
And so the guy running Transformers at the time said, if we're doing our job, then they have nothing to make. And that was always one of my favorite bits, was when they'd have one up for pre-order and then we'd announce our official Springer figure or whatever. And then pre-orders just get canceled left and right on the other one because it probably wasn't as good. Or if it was as good, it was 3 times as expensive.
Uh-huh.
So that was a joy of my time there, because we couldn't, for whatever reason, the legal department wasn't willing to take action on it. But that was mainly overseas stuff. That's a lot harder to litigate and legislate. For this kind of stuff, I don't think it's very hard for Hasbro. If this was Hasbro, we assume.
Yeah, we are assuming that. Let's make note that we think this is Hasbro. We can't. There's been no details shared with the public to if it is or not.
Yeah,
I mean, this could have been somebody who objected to, like, basically the way they were cataloging the information because it was something like somebody else had done.
it's possible. We just don't know. Odds are the most likely candidate is Hasbro, but it might not be. So,
right.
So regardless, I'm not. I like this project. I think this is going to be really good. But if it is Hasbro, they have a right to want to either have a discussion about it or understand it better before it gets out. So
right.
I'm not taking. It's impossible to take sides here because you don't know who the other side is or what their complaint is, even though we naturally are hoping that our guys get to put out this cool looking thing.
Matt Rubin asks, did they not have Hasbro's permission for the project, or was it someone other than Hasbro that issued the strike? We don't know. In either case, we don't know the answer to either question. Photo Viper asks, can't they avoid an IP dispute by producing under 500 units? I would say no. I
don't.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that the number of units you're putting out there matters if you're standing to profit off of somebody else's IP, provided it's that kind of situation. Now, After Action Report has a lot of fair use argument on its side. They are producing a reference material. And so that does grant you some leeway as far as image use, which is what would be used in this book. So again, I think we're all jumping to worst possible scenario right out of the gate. This could just be something where maybe they haven't talked to the powers that be, and they just want to make sure that accurate credit is being given where it is due. So it's entirely possible that this is just a speed bump that they take to get all the I's dotted and T's crossed, and to ensure that their future projects can continue on without these sorts of interruptions.
I don't know that there's a magic number that 500 means anything. Like,
I don't think so.
The magic number is 1, right? I can paint a mural of Batman and sell it for $8,000 if anybody's that dumb. But that's because it's 1 of 1. I created an original piece of whatever. But once you start mass producing anything that you don't have the IP rights to, you're in trouble. And mass produce might just be 4 or 5. So.
Right. So, and there too, like, this isn't even necessarily Hasbro elbowing in for an official designation. Again, they just want to they just want to make sure that everything that needs to be attributed is being attributed, and sometimes the only way to put the brakes and make sure that happens is with legal action. That's just how things are done. There isn't always a malicious intent behind legal action. This is how business gets done sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I say we all just relax. We all just take a deep breath, and we let Josh and Roger and everybody at After Action Report take care of their business.
Yeah.
Let's, just they've been very forthcoming with their entire process to this point. They've been on our show how many times to talk about the stuff they've been working on. They'll let us know. They will. Mm-hmm. They really will.
And for the people who are demonizing Hasbro here, if this is Hasbro making the stop, look, if this was coming out and it was your IP, and it looks great, but you haven't seen every page of it, don't you think you would need to make sure there isn't a Baroness centerfold in there, right?
Yeah,
right.
You would have to make sure that all of it is brand appropriate. So
sometimes not defending a copyright, even if there's not an issue with it, with the project itself, makes it more difficult to defend your copyright against something that is damaging, because you've set a precedent of not always,
Right. I mean, this could be a situation where they want to make sure that everything in the book is official.
Mm-hmm.
That they're not getting fan art that doesn't represent the brand in a proper way. Yeah. So there's, again, we're demonizing legal action, and we just need to relax and make sure that that's what's happening before we say that's what's happening.
Maybe they want, and this is pure speculation, maybe they want to keep the Citizen stuff out of there, right? And they don't know if it's included or not. Who knows?
Jake Rose, disappointed. You mean there isn't a Baroness centerfold? No.
I didn't say that there wasn't.
I mean, hey, look, Volume 1's all Joe's, so there would be Baroness in there regardless. Hans Chow, my fan art book has a Baroness centerfold. I'm screwed.
Right?
I mean, calm and reasoned response on the internet. What is this? I know, right?
It's the way we like to do things.
That's why we have 1,200 subscribers, and why the folks who shoot off 10-minute videos anytime G.I. Joe is mentioned in a public sphere have more.
John Cena has a new shirt. Here comes our news break. Dun, 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 dun.
That's not what we do here.
We need that in the next community calendar.
Oh my god!
I think
you listened to absorb, Vince.
You just gave him some ammo.
That's fine. Look,
I gave him this earlier. So
look, my head hurts from that. That's how bad that was. That should should get community calendar intro.
Right. Let's go to our Flint centerfold update from Diana Davis,
who says there is one.
Yeah, but he's not naked. He's wearing a beret.
Yeah. It's like Burt Reynolds from
Timestamp.
God.
But Nomad's wandering. Very, very well put. That's what we're trying to say here. The AAR guys have always been good with communication, so they'll let us know what they can when they can. Legal action is generally not something to be talked about until it concludes. So again, everybody just cool out. Let's not. Again, there might not be good guys and bad guys here. This is just how business gets done.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they put together books and we don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we were hoping for something juicier, but again, I talked to these guys last night, and there's nothing to tell you about this because we didn't know last night that it was coming. By the same token, keep an eye out for when we get Special Edition 82 back up and running, because I put it out there last night and nobody watched it yet, and that's all your fault. Rack time, Rob.
I'm sorry.
Your lack of social media is killing us again.
Yeah, that's it.
That's totally. It is kind of strange that we have four hosts on this show, and I'm still the only one that does social media for it. That is weird.
We know better.
I should get on the internal baseball page.
Right?
We talk some baseball, especially when Joe's gone. Hell, we could do an hour on baseball right now if we want.
We probably could.
You bet.
It might be easier than talking action figure legalese, frankly.
Will Tampa ever lose? I don't know. When are they going to play somebody?
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe when they stop playing Detroit.
Right.
When they play a team that isn't in last place last year and probably will be again this year.
The score just in. Tampa 12, the Washington Generals nothing. Good. Way
Jake
to go.
Rose asked, should we worry about other fan projects like Steel City's creating G.I. Joe? Look, like we said, I don't know if we should be worrying about After Action Report. But I would say in creating G.I. Joe's case, Dan has some pretty extensive contacts over at Hasbro. I'm sure he's talked to them. Again, I don't know anything about how he does his business, but I do know that he knows a lot of folks over there. So I
myself don't. I don't know many anymore. I know about 12.
82 was in my watch queue, then poof, it's still there. It's just been deactivated for now. Nobody can get in and adjust their pledge. You can't pledge the project right now. You can't change the amount that you're pledging. You can't de-pledge it right now. You just can't do anything. So there's no point in having that video up when the information in it isn't going to go to any use. We might as well wait until they're active again, and then we can put that video out, and it will actually help them towards the last 3 or 4 days of their campaign. Because that's where it stands with Kickstarter. Is they are the pause button has been pressed. So when this clears up, they will go back to having about 4 days left in their campaign. Well, Nomad's wandering. I watch it. Well, I know you did. I wasn't talking about you. But yeah, Michael Gene Fleming, pretty sure the last couple of creating G.I. Joe books have been officially licensed. You can tell by the logo on the front of those books. And speaking of creating G.I. Joe, Mark, next news item.
Do.
Yeah, there it is, still on Kickstarter. That is funded. It is project is still open until April 18th at 3 a.m. So through the end of the week, I guess you can call it, through Saturday. Whatever. If you're in on this, it's volume 11. I have missed the first 10, so I'm probably not pledging this one. But at some point, I got to rest my budget. Yeah, but that one is there for you. If you've got the other ones, I don't know what their stretch goals are. I don't know if they've got full compendiums available. I don't know what's going on with that. But by all means, head over to Kickstarter, type in creating G.I. Joe. This project will pop right up for you.
Mm-hmm.
You can check that out on your own time.
Hey, our pal Adam Skamowski has a good point over there in the comments.
I know someone was told they couldn't do a book of the file cards.
Mm-hmm. And that's interesting. So that's the first time Hasbro's been interested in file cards in a decade. Ooh. There you go.
Anyhow, next news item.
Actually, I made file cards. Do.
You did. They were on the inside of it.
4 sets of each.
best I could, man.
Right.
You got to do 4. Okay. They can't go on the outside. Okay.
I like the inside file cards. I didn't mind that.
I mean, it was good for collectors. It didn't accomplish what the file cards did for us as kids to take it off the peg and read it and love it and buy that guy. But
it doesn't help you move product that way. But at least if you're getting it off the pegs on its own, then at least it's there.
Better than nothing. File cards are important, folks.
But that is the important note in all of this.
Bam!
We haven't got file cards since Honcho was in charge. Remember this.
That's right.
Remember this, all of you. When the time comes that we must eulogize the Honcho.
Yeah. With him went the file cards.
Right.
Both of them rest in peace.
When we all gather up to celebrate the 61st anniversary of What's on Joe Mind.
Yeah.
Remember this.
Yeah, when I finally get hit by that garbage truck, make sure that it'll say there right on the
Pinstripe Bowl in New York.
right on the tombstone. It'll say, "I was just here to help," and people can leave file cards on my grave.
It'll be a file card shaped tombstone.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Hey.
And people will go, "Wow, how fat was he?"
Well, maybe we just get one etched on the tombstone.
That's not bad. Maybe that's better.
With the here lies and the date.
Next news item.
Here lies Brad J. Armbruster. Do.
And while we're on the Kickstarter wagon, Legends of the Hidden Force is still going. You can pledge now through April 25th. They are about halfway home on that initial $50,000 total. So a little past halfway. So by all means, head over there, give this a look. It is a great campaign. When we're done here tonight, you can go back and watch our episode from a couple weeks ago. What's on Joe Mind? 256, we had Darren on. He is the head of Whiskey Jack Toys, and he answered all kinds of questions. We went step by step through all the characters that are available and the pledge totals. So let's keep sharing this one around. It's gotten some good traction since we had him on. That always makes me happy when I see us talk to somebody and then other folks get them on after that, and we get to see some momentum in their project. So let's keep that rolling. Let's head over, pledge Legends of the Hidden Force, and get those figures made.
And there's such variety in this line that you if you look at it, you'll find somebody that speaks to you. And your favorite will be different than Rob's favorite, will be different than Mike's favorite, will be different than the best one. That's my favorite. I got to look up his name, that black and purple and blue fade gradient guy with the throw dagger there.
I mean, he's not better than Guy in a monkey suit, but sure.
No, he just killed Guy in a monkey suit, I'll be honest with you. But,
yeah, Guy in the monkey suit's immortal. You can't kill him.
Well, he inconvenienced him at least.
He's like the Grimace.
Sean notes that's the episode you guys kicked out the pregnant lady.
That's right.
That's correct.
And we didn't just tell her not to show up. We kicked her out live on air. Off with you.
Boom.
Shame.
For anybody who has not watched that episode yet, and from the episode count, I can tell that's many of you. Jo Colton was not kicked off the show. She's just she's on maternity leave. It is no longer feasible for her to sit upright and talk to us for 2 hours. She is that pregnant.
She's great with child.
Right. So she's still doing other stuff, but mind you, she's doing other stuff in like 40-minute windows. So it's a tough one.
Mm-hmm. She's still getting all of her work done and kicking ass in between trips to the bathroom.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In between short naps.
Mm-hmm. And whole bottles of pickles.
Well,
actually, that faded, right? That was a while ago, right?
Yeah, she's kind
I remember she'd moved on to the steak phase.
Oh yeah, and buttered noodles. Like her new favorite thing ever.
Diana Davis notes she's great without a child. Well, yes,
That's a mean thing to say. Oh, no, I get it. Okay.
You look at you making that negative, Mark.
I made it negative.
Making it negative.
No, I'm just keeping it real.
Isaiah.
Yeah.
Next news item.
Do.
Hey, it's from the realm of crummy phone games. Smite is introducing a G.I. Joe crossover starting April 18th. G.I. Joe and Cobra skins will be available for existing characters. And those characters, the G.I. Joes in the game, it's the stock list of guys who get in all the crossover stuff. Duke, Scarlet, Snake Eyes, Cobra Commander, Baron, Storm Shadow. Trailer for the link, or rather the link to the trailer. I don't know if I actually have that below or not, but I'll get it below.
If you have time.
Right. Yeah. It's I'm so burnt on these web games. The G.I. Joe game was pretty not great. I know I tried a couple of those, the first crossover games. So one of them was a zombie fighting game. It was terrible. So I have very low hopes and expectations on any of these. But this is for Hans Chow, who was asking, what game now? Smite. It's right there on the slide. SMITE. It is a fighting game, and you can get these G.I. Joe and Cobra themed skins on existing characters. So they aren't even being introduced as their own dudes. And so there you go. Duke, Scarlet, Snake Eyes, Cobra Commander, Baroness, Storm Shadow. Thanks for playing Destro and Roadblock. Your services are not needed here.
Mm-hmm. I do give them big points for diplomacy, though. Read that ad copy up top. Wherever evildoers appear to cause injustice, they may not have actually caused injustice.
Right.
It just
allegedly
appears that they may have.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like if former Major League umpire Country Joe West goes to Burger King for dinner, and we know he does.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't necessarily cause the ice cream machine to break.
He also didn't get any C-Nugs because they don't got C-Nugs at Burger King.
They do. They're just terrible.
Yeah, they suck.
They're awful.
Wendy's, though, not bad, I'll tell you.
No, Wendy's is all right. If you can find a Wendy's that's all right, their C-Nugs are usually all right too.
But they don't have the sweet and sour sauce, so get it out.
The Wendy's in this immediate area are terrible, so I don't eat there very often.
We had a Wendy's that burned down in Seekonk. It's pretty cool.
That's figure 6-pack is smitten with Smite.
I doubt it. But
he's smoten.
Is it smitten with Smite? I don't know.
He's been smote.
Phil Donnelly, I missed the G.I. Joe Battleground game. Playing it was boring, but it had some fantastic art. I think fantastic is stretching it. I think it was a fun little motif. It did not hurt to look at. Cartoony, chibi G.I. Joe guys. They were kind of fun. But playing it was boring. Playing it was terrible, in fact.
That is the faintest praise I've heard in a long time.
It's
like my buddy Tim Gates, he got to pick where we were getting dinner one night, and he said Denny's. Quick. And I'm like, Denny's? Like, Denny's is a great fallback option. Like, oh, man, nothing's open. No, wait, Denny's is open. Cool, we get to eat.
Right.
So I was like, you picked him. Where are we going? Denny's, he said. And I looked at him like, it's not the Palm.
Yeah, like 2 a.m. Superbird is a hell of a lot more attractive of an option than 7 p.m. Superbird.
That's it. But he was like, it was his last meal, Denny's. And I'm like, okay, is there some reasoning behind that, though, brother? And Tim, who had a great big deep voice, said, the food is bad, but you get a lot of it. That's sound reasoning, man. Off we went.
I am being corrected by young Mr. McConkey Donk. Battleground was the card game, not the tower defense one. Yeah, you're right. The Battleground game was better. It still was pretty boring. Tower defense game was just if you didn't pay a lot of money to get ahead, you just lost a lot.
My kids are driving on Autopia right now, and Phil Donnelly's in our chat instead of keeping an eye on the Webbers.
Right. Well. Well. I don't know what to tell you there, Mark. Clearly, it's a case of misplaced faith.
I just assumed he'd be there. That's not on me, is it?
Yeah.
A little bit. You know, he's always here, so.
I heard he brings his AT-AT in on a leash and then gets free popcorn refills without paying for them. Yeah.
He used to show up here on Friday nights, man. So you know he's here on Tuesday night.
I assume Tuesday night was Tower of Terror night, or whatever they call it in Disneyland now that they Guardians of the Galaxied it up.
Next news item.
Do.
Hey, more crummy phone games. Guns is doing a G.I. Joe crossover too. And apparently there's puzzles to be had in this one. I don't care, but there's up there's a ninja reflection in the window. There's a Arashikaji symbol on the screen over here. So I can be pretty confident that we got a G.I. Joe crossover going. I don't know anything else about it.
Will Snake Eyes stack the gems in time?
I don't care. Oh my God, I don't care. So many terrible web games. I am all for having dopey games on your phone to pass the time, right? I don't want to make it sound like but if it's going to be something more intensive than Doodle Jump, you need to have a better game than these guys tend to roll out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And very few, like Transformers Earth Wars is the rare example of a game that has kept my attention for more than a few months. And mind you, I've been playing that game for a while now, but it's fun. There's lots of variety. There's lots of different characters. There's they have lots of little mini games within it for to keep you engaged. G.I. Joe has been presented with none of that on mobile games, and so I like that's the bar for me. You need to get me something that's as good as Transformers Earth Wars before I will get engaged. And I know I'm hurting some feelings. I know these are folks with jobs that are trying their best, but
Matt Rubin's bringing the truth over there.
He is, but they terribled it up.
Hmm.
It was not a clone; it was derivative. But the gameplay was pretty different. I know in Transformers Earth Wars, I didn't get to like level 5 and then find it incapable to progress forward without spending lots of money.
Right.
I have not spent a dime on Transformers Earth Wars and have no complaints. Whereas with the G.I. Joe game, I was done after 2 weeks for all intents and purposes because I didn't want to spend money on a dopey phone game.
Mm.
If that's what my phone games are going to be, then I'm just going to download stuff like Fairway Solitaire and just play that all the time.
Or Words with Firefly.
Right. Like, Firefly, he's got it. All these Joe crossover mobile games are over monetized trash. And that's a little harsh probably, but like, again, this is somebody's job. So all respect to the effort that's being put in to make them look nice. But as far as the gameplay goes, they're just not good. They're not entertaining. They're not fun.
Content is king in pretty much every medium. So
right. All right. So in Smite's defense, it's not a phone game and it's been around for 10 years. Well, okay. Well, maybe I was too quick to judge Smite. But
you put that Snake Eyes skin on their Berserker Ninja, and he's still going to do Berserker Ninja moves.
Right. It's a skin. It's not.
I just want to know: is it anything like Asteroids?
Oh.
That was the last time you were good at video games.
It's the last time I cried a video game. I didn't care.
That does make you the weird one. So I'm not going to laugh at that.
Look at Rob looking down his nose. I don't play video games. I don't like wrestling.
No, he really doesn't. He really doesn't.
Like, I could care less. I just get it.
He does not.
I think that's the reason why I like the Atari ones, because you could play them for like 20 minutes. You're like, all right, that was fun, and then move on to something else.
I'm not a big video game guy outside of EverQuest, of course. But there's some killer Batman games, Rob. Nothing? No pull?
No.
All right.
That's too many buttons.
There are a lot of buttons.
Yeah, there's so much. Yeah. That's why
I mean, if I wanted to be that immersed in Batman, I have so many good Batman comics I could read. So
I've no doubt.
And all I have to do is this.
There you go.
I kind of capped out on video games once the PS2 came along. Like that was as intricate as I wanted a controller to get.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was the most I could handle. And now that as I'm getting even older, I'm not gonna I can't add Island back.
I still have my old Sega Genesis, man. I can fire up Road Rash, Toe Jam and Earl, and NHL Hockey '94. And I'm good.
Toe Jam and Earl.
No NBA Jam.
No, because NBA Jam is like Eternal Baseball, right? Like at the end, it just gets stupid. That's the last thing I need is nope, hit a guy, nope, walk the guy. Wait, here's Eddie Matthews, boom shakalaka.
Jeff Butler adds, "You got asteroids? No, but my dad does. Can't even sit on the toilet some days."
Hey, a little preparation H to clear that right up.
John Madden football.
Yeah, John Madden football is not good. Looks pretty. It's not a good game anymore. That was one of the last ones I held on to. It's really a glitchy mess these days. You can't you can't do anything. It's not.
I never found a football game that you could actually run the ball on, right? But now that's just called the NFL. So.
Well, that's not a can't run. That's a don't run.
Yeah, pretty much.
Different things.
Running is for suckers.
Matt Rubin's got the Mutant League football call out. That was pretty solid.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, so sure.
I think they had a team on it called the 60 Winers that played in San Francisco instead of the 49ers. They were 60 Winers. Pretty solid.
Or Mutant League hockey.
Nothing's better than Blades of Steel for the Nintendo Entertainment System, where if the hockey guys fought, the guy who lost went to the penalty box.
Right.
Awesome.
Blades of Steel. Double Dribble was good on the NES.
I think there was a spot on the floor that you couldn't miss from in Double Dribble, though, and that was kind of a game breaker.
It was. Once somebody figured out that and how to abuse it, it was pretty well over.
I love
you had to have a guy who was driving down the sideline and took the shot as he was flying out of bounds from the back corner. That shot always,
which is a totally simple shot to hit anyway.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I can hit that in my garage.
I like the old Tecmo Super Bows, right? The videos where they kick off to Bo Jackson and he just runs around for the whole quarter, making everybody miss him and then scores as time expires. Can't be stopped.
Used to do that one all the time. Used to did that to my friend Butch in college on a regular basis. Just look, now it's a track meet, I would say, and just run the big oval all the way around the field, and then finally run it in.
It was Bojack.
I would be sporting and give him like 3 seconds left to try and score.
Well, given that you guys are Giants fans, right? Like the only guy as overpowered as Bo Jackson was LT, right? Nobody stopped LT on Tecmo Super Bowl.
He was difficult to block. Yeah, he
would run up the screen and knock all 5 linemen down.
Yeah, little Tecmo blocker would hit LT and fly off almost.
Anyway, that's our video game.
We can all join him on Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and then we can feign playing a real G.I. Joe game. And I would say, no, too many buttons. No.
All the buttons.
There's like 40 of them. I don't need a separate kneel button. I don't. No.
I got Map Mania on my daughter's Nintendo Switch for $8, which I probably spent $8 on in a weekend as a 7th grader. It was the first good coin op wrestling game. And man, I'm all over that. Look out for Coco Savage. He's a bastard.
You were saying that a few weeks ago.
When I was a kid, I never understood there's 5 opponents and the third guy is the hardest by far. And I'm like, how is Coco Savage not the champion? Didn't realize that, you get a lot more quarter turnover on the game if you make the third guy the ass kicker, right? So,
well, yeah, and that and Coco Savage. I mean, he used to piss Vince off a lot. So that just he's great in the ring, and then he'd go and give some kayfabe interview and give away the business, and that was
right. I love it's actually a Japanese game. They ported it over, and the champ is a guy named Golden Hulk. And so he kind of looks like Hogan, but he's totally Bruiser Brody. He's 100% Bruiser Brody with blonde hair. So you can see how they updated it for the U.S. market.
Next news item.
Oh, I thought we were talking video games.
We were, but it was actually just dopey G.I. Joe video game tie-ins. But so here's another big item from the week. Hasbro is apparently going back to window packaging. And the fans rejoiced. But this is the press release that's been making the rounds. We wanted to share an update on packaging for Hasbro's 6-inch scale figures. Based on your feedback, we'll be reintroducing windows and blisters to our 6-inch fan figures beginning later this year into 2024 for select products across our portfolio of brands, including G.I. Joe Classified, Power Rangers Lightning Collection, Star Wars Black Series, and Marvel Legends. This will eventually expand into all new 6-inch figure releases. The new windows and blisters will be made from bio PET or recycled PET, helping us achieve our priority of meeting our fans' expectations for extraordinary packaging and superior design, while still developing packaging that minimizes waste and the use of virgin plastic. Thank you again for being one of our biggest fans and continued support of Hasbro. So, all right. I guess I'm all for this, right? Like I do think that I think more was made of this than needed to be, but ultimately this was something that wasn't working out.
Mm-hmm.
Rob and I were talking about this over the weekend, and there was probably an unfair amount of histrionics dedicated to the few times that swap outs and damaged figures were encountered in the windowless packaging. But if that sort of thing is happening one per 100 purchases, that's too many. If it's 1 per 500 purchases, that's too many. And so if the windowless packaging was driving it up to that, then moving away from it is a good move. So Mark, this is again, as our former industry insider.
Mm-hmm.
What's your feelings about all this stuff?
I mean, it takes us all the way back to the Fight Club movie, right? Where Brad Pitt gives a speech about how he works for an insurance company, and like they'll only do a recall on a car that's blowing up if it costs more to settle the lawsuits than it does to recall cars. I think that's exactly what you're looking at here. Yeah. I think this was pushed back from what little brick and mortar they have left from Walmart and Target, saying, hey, the returns are, you can say through the roof or whatever, but returns are obviously up on these, and it's because there's no way to legislate against it with this completely sealed packaging. So right. I 100% believe that's why they're making this change back, because it is a pretty quick pivot. This didn't stick very long. Yeah. And I'm sure some of the stuff that they were at some point, given how regular the lines are being planned to come out, there was one planned with sealed packaging that they had to pivot quick to fix. So I think this is 100% retailer driven. And yes, it does follow the wishes, or at least the verbalized wishes of the community. And that's good. But I don't believe for a second that they just listened to the community and went, okay, we hear you, we're going to change. Because they knew that it was going to be unpopular, right? The gnashing of teeth wasn't unforeseen, but it also probably didn't cause a dip in sales, right? The people buying this, the entire line has been marketed to us, to the adult collector. Right. So I know that I saw a few who were like, no, I'm done. My line's complete once they started sealing the figures. So there's a few, but probably not a lot. that actually got out because of the packaging. So I firmly believe this is retailer driven, but it's also the right move. So I'm happy to see it.
Right. For regardless of the reason, fandom more or less got what it wanted. So who cares what the reasoning is behind that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I would, I'm not demonizing Hasbro. I would spin it exactly like this. We heard you, we listened, and it's coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Whether that's true or not, I don't care. I'm all about the end result. So
Phil Donnelly says he just got a Marvel Legends X-Men figure today that has 2 right legs. To which I say, you deserve it. That's why that happened. You deserve that.
That's got nothing to do with sealed packaging, though. That's just bad quality control, which seems to be biting Hasbro in the ass this year.
No, but you could see it if that was in a window and not buy that.
Maybe.
True. Although,
Double
I mean,
row.
my classified Destro.
If the bottom half of the figure was actually visible through the window.
Yeah. And in most cases with Marvel Legends, it was. But like my classified Destro, the feet are on the wrong legs. But even with the window box, because that was the first figure I got, I had no way of telling that till I opened it up. So
yeah,
I do think they never got the credit they deserved for the foresight of covering up Falcon's face. Like, that was a shrewd move.
Yeah. Well, you see, now he's out there. Mission accomplished. They can go back.
I'm sure. Let's see what happens. They have to do a Night Force version because that's a quick and easy fix. I suggested 2 heads for a Night Force Falcon just in case somebody already has one that they're not happy with. Just saying. If you happen to get the rare Caitlyn Jenner variant of Falcon, that's what it looks like.
Goodness, but
put them side by side. Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm afraid to do that because you'll probably be right.
Absorbvids will do it. You watch.
Don't challenge him. You know he'll do it.
Come at me, bro.
But yeah. So if nothing else, I'm glad that I won't have to go online, and because again, when you're the only one who does social media for the show, it means I'm doing more social media than I want to. I'm glad I won't have to see people complaining about it in my social media anymore. That's really ultimately what makes me happiest. As somebody who has long since given up trying to buy stuff at retail, here in the black hole of distribution that is Indianapolis, Indiana, where nothing is shipped within 6 months.
No, and I mean it's only the 12th largest city in the country.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're only 8 hours, from 75% of the nation's population. But so why would anything come here?
Do you guys walk around waving a 12 flag for that? We're number 12. We're
something
number
like
12. And then
there are probably some people who do, because I mean that's the level of fandom we got out here. But
and Seattle's like, that's our thing, and then Texas A&M is like, hold my beer.
But Torpedo Mike says, "Don't worry, people find something else." Yeah, I know.
Of that we have no doubt.
At least it won't be this. Like
it might be the brutal chest cut.
Like people started complaining about this before it even had the chance to fail, and that's where the burnout comes from. Like the fact that it didn't work and people complained about it, that actually made it a little bit better. Because if something's not working, then it deserves complaints. It deserves derision. But yeah, like they announced this was going to be happening, and it started then because people thought that they might not like it, and then
and they were right.
Right, at least in their defense, it worked out that way. But I mean, yeah. Anyway,
it was a creative way to showcase the incohesive art styles of each individual figure.
Right. Like it did make me notice that when I was looking for classified figures, that I realized the most important thing was the number on the side of the package. Not because I remember what they are, just so I would know, hey, that's different than the 4 guys in front of it. Let me see who that is.
And sometimes if you're doing it different than everybody else, you're not actually trailblazing.
I don't mind the different artwork all that much. But I thought that the new packaging they were showing off on the latest fan stream was definitely the right way to go, because you had the picture of the figure and then the individual artwork.
I don't mind it for what they're doing, because it gives you a different take on every figure, and sometimes the art style is more like Zorana's, kind of cartoony, which is great for the Zorana figure, right? Like you wouldn't do that for Mainframe. Oh, weird, because they're kind of connected. But if my whole point on Classified is I'm disappointed that they're just punting on kids altogether.
Right.
Not even trying, because you can go after both. All the lines I worked on for Transformers and Joe, I went after both. So it can be done. You have to plan for it. You have to make it a priority, because just going after collectors, I mean, it's a definition of low-hanging fruit. And I don't mind it. I'm a collector. I like the lines to appeal to me. But if you're only trying to appeal to dedicated collectors, that's a sink that's slowly losing water. So eventually that's a losing proposition.
It's kind of funny. The original Mego figures in 1972, they were sold in closed boxes. 1973, they added a window to the box for the same basically over the same problems that everyone was talking about today. So it's not like it's an old problem too. It's just I don't know why they thought it's.
Matt Rubin asks, do you think the windowless boxes would have gone better for G.I. Joe if the art matched, like had been by the same artist? No.
I mean, let's face it. And when it comes to G.I. Joe Classified, we barely saw any of the windowless boxes. Anything that has come out windowless already, I mean, was a mail-in exclusive. Was a online exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're only just getting that first windowless full wave now.
Right. The Duke with the Ram, the Tiger Force Duke with Ram. That's really been the only widespread.
That and the Snake Eyes and Timber. Yeah.
Yeah, and even then, Snake Eyes and Timber is the only one that got to general retail. So Classified, for all the complaining, Classified has really been untouched by this the most. But there were enough issues. Yeah, we lucked out on that one. Let's just leave it at that.
Which is why I keep laughing at all the people who were complaining. Well, I stopped buying Joe Classified when they went to windowless. They haven't gone to windowless yet, technically. So, you've had nothing to buy yet. Put your money where your mouth is.
Right. But next news item. Hey, it's the other big rumor from last week. When we have somebody on Twitter with, a Hollywood insider with all of 8,000 followers saying that Michael Keaton is going to be approached for a G.I. Joe
deep inside, all right.
Clearly, this is the guy that everybody turns to. David Ellison is very big on it. But he's crying for a Beetlejuice sequel. And honestly, if Michael Keaton is involved, I'd rather see him in a Beetlejuice sequel than I would in a G.I. Joe reboot. So we're going to give this one the big old grain of salt alert. Everything that this guy says could be facts, right? And it's still, we'd never see this project. Because that's Hollywood for you. Where I'll thank everybody to remember the Chuckles movie that came out 10 years ago. Oh wait, no, that's just been a rumor for that long. So Dave Allen poking in that Sergeant Kamakura or windowless, they were exclusives.
They were online exclusives. Yeah, but yes, you are correct. They were windowless.
So so let's all take a deep breath.
If he was really a Hollywood insider, he would have called him Dave Ellison, right? Like it's his buddy. Right? And Mike Keaton.
Again, every word of this could be true.
Mm-hmm.
It could be lock pipe true, and it still just would not matter because so many times these projects get pitched and tossed around, and and then they just
never happened
about. So let's all relax. Let's all relax. I have no doubt that another attempt at a G.I. Joe movie franchise is coming. I think it's going to take a little bit longer to wash Snake Eyes from everybody's mouths, but maybe not too much, because really so few people saw that maybe it's already happened.
You know what? That's a really good point. Maybe it's good to miss off target that dramatically, because less people were disappointed in it because there was no walk-up audience.
Yeah,
nobody saw that on accident.
Yeah, Bart adds that for the new G.I. Joe movie, we need Mark as Snowjob.
I'll be real honest with you. I was about 10 days into a goatee until today, and it's not a good look anymore. It's
well, they got a makeup department. They could put a beard on you.
I can do enough. I can get the square. I have enough hair, but it is there's a lot of vanilla in that strawberry. So
creamsicle.
A lot of salt in that paprika is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's probably not coming back, but I do appreciate it. There were a lot of redheaded G.I. Joe guys, I think, just to mix it up. But
we did highlight Long Range last week. It was majestic.
Yeah, with his metal thigh boots, he's great.
Majestic in his gingerness.
What if I told you there was a G.I. Joe 3 pitch that had Channing Tatum back as Serpentor, fighting Roadblock, The Rock, on a floating island as the third act?
Wow.
Look, it wouldn't be the worst thing I'd heard.
It
still sounds better
may
than
or
that
may not have been the plan at one point. Now we all know Tatum was never coming back to G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
But that was somebody once told me that was an active plan for a while.
Still sounds better than that mask pitch.
Oh my God, the mask pitch was the worst thing. So bad. And they were so up on it, right?
So, Rob, why don't you refresh for the folks who have no idea what you're talking about? Why don't you tell
the mask pitch, I mean, I'm kind of vague on it myself, but wasn't it like a bunch of teenagers and they find magic masks and there's like no vehicles and it's just crap? Wasn't it? Or
the bit I had was they were like, it was a group of like teenage street kids in Detroit, and they got the bit I liked from the bit I saw was, and it makes sense because Mask was Kenner's answer to Transformers and G.I. Joe, right?
Yeah.
Was to merge the two. So the idea was pretty cool that they actually got their hands on some leftover Cybertronian tech from a Transformers fight. And then they were, tuners or whatever. They like to hot rod their cars up. And so they managed to make their own mask vehicles. And then
it was basically the IDW pitch.
They used them to fight like the local drug lord or like, it was so bad. By the guy who brought you Luke Cage.
Phil Donnelly says, I still remember John M. Chu asking me what I would want in a third movie when I saw him at San Diego Comic-Con. I still remember asking John M. Chu on our show, when the third G.I. Joe movie was going to come out, so we know when they were going to delay it for.
Apparently indefinitely.
Yeah, well, almost indefinitely. But that was fantastic. We got a big time Hollywood director on What's on Joe Mind, and I'm cracking on him. It was.
Let's be honest, though, the ongoing delays of that third G.I. Joe movie didn't do anything to hurt the franchise long term.
No. Although at least it did prompt them to clean house on Joe personnel. Before that, they needed a refresh.
Yeah, it only refreshed one thing.
Yeah, got cold in here.
Oh my God.
Mark, if you ever want to come up and just beat the hell out of him one day, I'll let you.
Too soon? Nah, probably not.
Oh, I'd probably unlock the door. I'd have no will.
Just text me. I'll let you in. Oh.
I remember a guy on the Joe thread over at His Tank when it went down or when it went public. A guy was like, so some guy lost his job. Who cares? And I was on the thread.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, brother, imagine losing your dream job through no fault of your own and then having Yahoo say it's not a big deal on the internet. Thanks for enjoying the worst day of my professional life. And then almost everybody afterward was like, yeah, that was kind of a dick move, dude.
And that's saying something if you're getting that out of a his tank thread.
Yeah.
Nobody beats trolls on the internet, but once in a while. I got a lot. Man, I did the McFarlane message boards for a decade. Like, I've been disarming trolls for 20 years online. I actually like it when guys come at me. Once in a while on Eternal Baseball, someone will go nuts on one of my posts, and I'm like, hot dog, here we go.
Where's Buddy Biancalana?
Yeah, and it's pretty much, if they're really rude, it's pretty much always getting back to, why are you like this? This is what you do? Is this your thing? Because there's really no defense for that.
But yeah, it's so before we get too excited about this, let's let everybody remind everybody rather to tune in to Amazon Prime to watch the latest installment of Lady J. Oh wait, it didn't happen either. And that was signed, sealed, and delivered. No, it wasn't a case. I've seen Cornelius McGillicuddy here. Like he said, that song, it makes you wonder how bad that show was. We don't know if it was bad. It never got that far.
Yeah.
Like that.
I mean, they saw that Snake Eyes movie crash and burn, and they probably just went, we're good.
Yeah.
I pushed hard for The Last Laugh to be, I assumed Netflix, but it could be anybody now, right?
Yeah.
Because as great as that is, it's clandestine. It's cloak and dagger, really. Almost all of it takes place in hallways and rooms until the big end. Spoiler, underground nuclear sub base. But until that very end, you could shoot that thing on a really low budget, and the source material is so good it wouldn't need much adaptation. And internally, there was almost no interest in pitching that around Hollywood. I don't get it. I never did.
We don't know that project was bad because that project never went anywhere.
Yeah.
I maintain that if you're going to get me excited about a multimedia G.I. Joe project, give me all ages animation.
Yeah.
You want to get kids into your brand. You want to make your adult fans happy. There's all kinds of platforms for that sort of thing, and they seem to just insist that G.I. Joe has to be a live action deal nowadays, and I don't get that.
And gritty realism.
Hey, do me a favor and pop David Allen's comment up here so I can respond.
I really want to see Micronauts animated series.
Okay, no, you didn't. no, you didn't.
Make the mask one look good, huh?
It was a lot further along. Like, yeah, you didn't want to see that. I'll be honest with you.
Super Saiyan Berserk. That's a new name. Welcome to the show. I think a serious tone Netflix series would be good. You know what? In theory, sure. In actual practice, no. Because at the end of the day, G.I. Joe is a toy property owned by a toy company, and they're not going to let it get as dark as it would need to be a realistic military series.
Right. But it doesn't mean that your animated pitch has to be dumb, right? It just can't be dark. Yeah.
Right. You can tackle life and death themes. You can tackle adult-ish matter. Even the show back in the 80s had dopey plots, but there were real life stakes there. Adults acted like adults. It never wrote down to an audience. And if you just took the MacGuffin device of the day element out of it and gave us a more serialized approach to the series as a whole, I think that would go a long ways towards bridging the gap to maybe a skew to a more accepting audience between the ages of 12 and 50.
I mean, everybody talks about the comic book back in the day, and the comic book was written with an element of realism and things like that, but it was still always appropriate to be. I mean, it was still always a toy and a toy tie-in comic,
Right.
and appropriate to that. I mean, Larry wrote for, that 8 to 14-year-old audience. He just didn't write down to them.
Right.
Yeah. But
if you want to see how to do a cartoon that's going to grab kids and adults, and everybody enjoys it, grows the property, Batman the Animated Series.
or Avatar.
Yeah.
Not the dopey blue cat people. I mean The
Last Airbender.
Oh yeah, the Shyamalan movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, that was.
No one loves that movie.
No. So,
I love the twist at the end where the bald kid was really Bruce Willis.
What a twist!
It really wasn't much of a twist. That Bruce Willis hasn't grown hair of his own in 30 years.
No, and it's Shyamalan, so you're like, when's it coming? Oh, there it is.
Next news item.
Boop boop.
And yeah, hey, that Tiger Force Dusty and Python Crimson Guardsman, those are totally fake. Wait, no, they're actually on shelves in Malaysia. So good job there. We told you it was probably legit, and now it appears to be pretty legit. There's in-hand photos of the Python Crimson Guardsman making the rounds. It's very much a real thing, and I was exhausted by this week. Can I just throw that out there now? I know everybody can probably already guess, but just the overreaction and hyperbole to every single thing this week wore me out. Ugh. Anyways, which of these two are you looking forward to the most, Racktime Rob?
Gosh, I mean, there's nothing uglier than the Cobra Crimson Guard, the Python Crimson Guard. But it's just, it's so ugly. It's like it comes around the other side. Almost, such a bad looking figure, but yet I cannot look away.
Yeah, it's really what it is. Like Tiger Force Dusty is okay, but he doesn't inspire the reaction that Python Patrol Crimson Guard does. Either you hate him because he's ugly, or you love him because he's ugly. So
but he ugly.
But he's ugly.
UGLY. He ain't got no alibi.
So I think that's maybe the winner by default, just because it gets a reaction. Jake Rose says, "Thanks for going through the hyperbole for me. I appreciate that, man. There's weeks when it's tough to get up and do this show, and this week is one of those. I can't lie to you. But yeah, so this is a thing. Okay, stop giving credence to people that say these aren't a thing. Just stop."
My favorite thing here is just the avatar name of the guy there, Gorilla Pimp Slap.
That's fantastic. That deserves a follow just on its own.
It's pretty good. I like, of all the sub-forces, I like Night Force because it took kind of glaring, garish figures and made them cooler, in my opinion, right? The Psych Outs and the Crazy Legs. And the Python Patrol Crimson Guard is exactly the opposite of that.
Right.
Yeah.
It took one of the most beautiful, literal, not outfits, but uniforms of the entire run and just made it god awful.
Let's crap this up a little bit.
Ugh. And look at how, now I actually like the art, but who's buying that because of the art, right? If you were undecided about G.I. Joe or Cobra and you saw that, are you buying that figure?
And then you got to turn over the back and look at the photo and go, "I'm blind!"
Right? Not even trying.
So yeah, that's that. And next news item.
Dude, boo!
Hey, look at that. It's Chonky Tank Kitty. That means we've reached the end of the news. Chonky Tank Kitty and the Meowler are brought to you by the G.I. Joe 3D Printing Podcast. Be sure to stay tuned to them for upcoming Chonky Tank Kitty news. Hopefully in the next few weeks. Hopefully. I owe them an email, so I need to find out myself. But that does bring us to the end of the news. So hang on for just a second. And we have a message here from our sponsors at Kokomo Toys.
We buy, sell, and trade vintage and modern toys. G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Transformers, Marvel, DC, and more. Located in beautiful downtown Kokomo, Indiana, we are open every Wednesday through Saturday from 12 to 5. It's a theme park of nostalgia. Join the thousands of people who have traveled from all over the Midwest for over a decade to buy and sell with us. Get your geek on.
And last week, or over the last couple of weeks, we've gotten the addresses and we've sent out the prizes for the Name Joe's Baby contest. And it occurs to me after a couple of messages this week that we never told people what was won in this contest. So I figured we'd take a minute right now and announce the winners and what they won in the Name Joe's Baby contest. Our first winner, the first winner that got back to us was, of course, the illustrious Hans Chow. You can see him now in the live chat. He's there waving to everyone. He won, for his efforts, 5 classified figures. He won a bat, a repainted roadblock from Wave 1 with the silver, or rather the metal play, the metal gun, gunmetal highlights. He got Stalker, he got Tomax, and he got Zaymot. So right there, that's like $120 worth of stuff.
That's a good haul right there.
Yeah, man. For coming up with a crummy baby name, that's amazing. That's what you get when you enter contests at What's on Joe Mind. People who didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
Second winner was Cornelius McGillicuddy, and he got the exclusives package, which involved a Cobra Island beachhead and infantry from that first wave of Target exclusives, 2 of the 3 3/4 Hiss 3 tanks with the Rip It driver, and a retro classified Gung Ho. So good haul for Cornelius McGillicuddy on the exclusive bandwagon there. Our third winner, Christian McKelvey, he got the classified package as well. That was a bat and roadblock, Stalker, Tomax, and Zaymot. And then lastly, our fourth winner was Anthony Houseal, who got a reaction selection, 7 figures. Baroness, a Cobra Snakeling, a Cobra Trooper, a Joe Combat Engineer, Joe Sailor, Joe Trooper, and the public service announcement variant of Mutt with the Hey I'm a Computer card. So right there, that's $140 worth of stuff. So not bad.
Mm-hmm.
For the next time we put together a contest, maybe you should all get together and enter, because we'll probably be giving away some decent crap.
Somebody's winning a Slaughter's Marauders barbecue. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
All right.
So those who play win, and those who win a lot. Not bad, I think. Thank you to our friends at Kokomo Toys. Thank you to our super fan D Bache, who also supplied some of the prizes for that were given away. And just thank you for playing along and watching with us and taking part in the lovely event of naming Joe's child. And of course, we know that the actual name of the child will be Mango Habanero.
Mm-hmm. And for the 3 winners, it'll take a little time, but Gray Childs will bring your prizes right to your house with an assortment of cold drinks for you to choose from.
That's right.
Because he's that kind of guy.
He is.
He's got water. He's got soda. He's got beer. Whatever your favorite.
He's the man.
Yes, that's why he's long pour.
Mm-hmm.
So, so yeah, that was that. And I guess that takes us to a long overdue version of what we got in. Racktime Rob, we are getting kind of short on time, so try to give us the condensed version.
Well, all right. It's easy to condense because I didn't get much in. But last week, Indiana Jones and a Nazi.
And Melty Face Tote.
Melty Face Tote. Major Arnold Tote.
Melty Face.
Yeah. And then, tomorrow I should have more. But,
of course.
Falcon and CoverGirl and Outback.
Of course. I have no idea when those are showing up for me. Mark Weber, what'd you get in?
I'm going to go fast because I got a lot. Hasbro's making little tiny Dinobots.
Let me get you in the big window here, Mark.
I'm not in the big. Oh, they're kind of awesome. And I was always a Dinobot guy, so I approve of this. Digging that.
I think those little tiny Dinobots will make a big Dinobot.
Yeah, and they go together and make form together and make a big Dinobot. So that's pretty cool. All right, so Falcon's here with his lipstick. Mad Marauders Barbecue. Nothing like not using the name of a disappointing group nobody liked very much. Outback is a great figure. I'm kind of hyped about him, not just because he's a redhead. Cover Girl. There you go. But the big win, and I know
there's people that bag on that Cover Girl artwork. I love it myself.
Yeah.
It's very like almost World War II victory poster kind of ish.
Right.
So
That's the vibe I got from it. I like it.
I'm down with it. Like I do not like the varied art, but this works, and it's the closest you're going to get to getting a classified Wolverine. So enjoy that. Well, unless you get the little tiny one from who's making that? That's Super 7, right?
Super 7.
Get that from Super 7. I know I'm the only one who likes these toys very much, but I think they're fantastic. So I got the Diamond Baroness statue.
I mean, it's great. I just argue with your definition of toy.
Oh, it's so good.
Like 0 points of articulation is not a toy.
If only she had one like at the mid torso, so I could pose her differently. But
only
this is friggin' phenomenal, and it sits over to the just because it's where it is. It sits to the right of my computer in like a cubby hole, and the light from my desk light shines on it, and it just looks sensational. Like if I had a giant toy cabinet behind me, this would be in there and it would look ridiculous. It's a ridiculous figure. Hold on.
She intimidates the cat. That's why he hasn't come back.
Yeah. It's actually right next to the cat. Yeah. And he hasn't attacked her yet. So that says something. But this thing kicks ass and it works with the Destro, which I got to find and now get out of the break out of his plastic shell. But Snake Eyes, Baroness, Destro. I've been thrilled with all three. So
Jake Rose asks that Mark wants the only articulation to be a brutal chest cut.
That's all you need. Really. I mean, as long as you have the cut across the torso, you've got amazing posability.
I mean, you did work for the company that pioneered that little innovation once upon a time.
And did I fight against it? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, because I wasn't on the team at the time when it happened. It was already done. And once I took over, I had such little tooling or item count that I knew I'd never win that fight. That was a library I had to work with. So I never mentioned it, not once, when I was at Hasbro, because I knew it wouldn't go anywhere and got to choose your battles. So
that's what else you got, Mark?
That's it.
That's it. That's all.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Right. I like everybody else. I got a barbecue, but that's it. The other 4 figures got sent out separately, and they are orbiting Atlanta, Georgia, somewhere. That's as according to the UPS or FedEx tracking site.
Don't they ship from Pennsylvania?
I don't look, Mark. I don't know what's going on here. I just know what the computer tells me, man. I just know what the computer tells me.
It's not like they're going to boomerang like slingshot around Saturn, right? In all the sci-fi movies and get that gravitational slingshot.
Right. No, none of that.
Atlanta doesn't work like that.
No.
Obviously, you've never driven in Atlanta.
Oh, I was just going to say, unless you're a professional sports athlete trying to get out.
Yeah.
But what else we got this week?
No cheering children.
No, that would have been great, but I was pressed for time. I
suppose we should be glad it wasn't actual porn.
I saw Mark crumbling into laughter in the little window, and
I thought for sure at the end there was going to be a pop and a bunch of kids going, "Yay!"
But anyways, yes. So we got to last week. We've been jumping this number quite a bit lately. Here's number 68. He's great. He is complete. His left arm's a little loose, but that's about all that's wrong with him. And I said to myself, hey, we're getting right up on that magic number. And then I that night I'm looking at eBay, And what do I see there on magical eBay? It is a beachhead for sale from the illustrious Kevin Watts once again.
And now it makes sense.
And there is number 69 from Mr. Kevin Watts, helping us out again. There was no better dealer to go get beachhead number 69 from. That was like the powers that run the universe aligning themselves, getting together, and saying, "Hey, Mike, here's beachhead number 69. Kevin's got that for you." He did not send any extra gifts this time, thank goodness. Because
we had to bury the other one in a steel box. And hope that people don't find it.
the deck of cards is still in the bag because I think it's funnier that way. But no bonus gifts from Kevin. But frankly, Kevin supplying beachhead number 69.
It's gift enough.
Like you can't do it better than that. So that is that. We are at 69. We're going to see a jump in that number at some point very soon. But Bart says, be funnier if number 69 was crotchless. No, man, that's just sad. Terrible.
I assume when you have them all stood up, if you don't have beachhead number 69 carrying, I don't even care who she is, Baroness, Lady J, Scarlet.
I mean, really,
let's call it tombstone position.
I mean, really, if it's on the beachhead shelf, it'll probably be number 68. So, I mean, Mark looks disappointed by that, but
a little bit.
You know, what can I tell you? It's funnier that way. Anyways, David Allen says, I like the other version better. Well, the other version's coming back, but we had a gag to do. I don't know what to say there, man.
We had shtick.
Respect the gag, Magnum DA.
We had a tasteless piece of shtick to do, and our show doesn't turn those down. We take all of those.
Tasteless or tasty?
Or both.
There you go.
If a lifetime of watching Mel Brooks movies has taught us nothing, it's don't turn down the cheap, easy gag.
Cheap jokes are great jokes. Photo Viper asks, what is your goal number of beachheads? And I will say it is high.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The correct answer is yes.
Correct answer is high.
When I'm dead.
Yeah, we'll know when we get there. But I actually have a bunch of them on the desk here right now because I need to go buy a bigger plastic box to keep them in. I got my shoebox size box is too full. Got to go.
You need some kind of display with stadium seating, right? So you can maximize the beachheads.
I have the stadium rack. I do have, I bought some spice racks just for that, and they're perfect. They're nice and nice wide base. I got room for a whole bunch of them, but I don't have a shelf for them. That's the problem. So, anyways, shout outs, Rack Time, Rob.
Shout out to the studio audience. Thank you again for coming and viewing our bit of nonsense.
Honcho Mark Weber.
I mean, this one's pretty simple, and it's a day late, but happy birthday to Gary Godso. I believe that was yesterday.
It was.
Oh, wow.
There you go. So gotta respect literally the OG.
76 years young.
Yeah, the OG Gary Godso. So happy birthday, Gary. Hope it was great. And of course, I don't know if I'm stealing this, but to Joe Colton and the cooking baby, that's what's on Joe's mind right now. So
all right. And I will reiterate, of course, a shout out to Joe Colton for, she's at home. She's it'd be nice if she showed up and did the live chat, but whatever.
That's all right.
Right? That's fine.
That's okay.
Fine, because there's so much going on Tuesday night.
I know.
Anyways, as we guilt. The shout out to Gary as well. That was on my list. Hopefully we'll see him fairly soon.
Double G, the OG.
that's right.
Shout out to you guys in the audience. If you're catching us on replay, we love you too. Shout out to you guys. If you're catching us on the audio replay, We love you guys too. It all counts the same. Just if you're catching us on audio, please take a minute, get yourself over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel there, just so we know you're there and can be counted that way. Yeah, that's about all we got this week. Remember, if you're catching us on Facebook, give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a little huggy guy, because we love little huggy guy. Makes all the algorithms go around. Last week's episode had over 1,000 views on Facebook, so I don't know what's up with that. If you're catching us on YouTube, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share us in all of your various social media circles, be it Twitter or Reddit or whatever places you guys go, because I think we do pretty good work here, even when we're jaded and tired of life
and punchy.
Punchy will be later. But for my co-hosts, Racktime Rob and the Honcho Mark Weber, I'm Mike Irizarry. Thanks for joining us here on this episode of What's on Joe Mind. We will be back next Tuesday at 9 p.m. for another episode of the TeamStream. 9:05, yes.
Just right following Atlanta Braves baseball.
After the next week's encore presentation of the Beastmaster.
Right. With special guest host Pete Van Wieren.
And then, of course, stay tuned for Roadhouse.
And be nice until it's time not to be nice.
It's time to not be nice. That's our friend Vagon likes to say. Stay safe, and if you can't, be careful. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. Yo, Joe.
Beer.